news stories. This one struck me as the most important one. Um, so Anthropic Mythos was run in Firefox. They were one of the companies given a chance to access it, and they say they found 271 vulnerabilities in the latest version. And the previous AI only found a smaller number. Um, yep, Opus 4.6 found only 22 in the previous version. So they say it's very good. Now this is interesting. You can determine how to interpret this. He seems to be taking a positive spin on it, saying that this maybe we're turning the corner on security. This thing is so good we can really find all the vulnerabilities and fix them. That's a possibility. Another possibility is that they're still only finding a small number of the vulnerabilities that are there. Anyway, they're finding a lot more vulnerabilities with this, and I think the one thing you can say with confidence is that everybody has to run these powerful AI vulnerability scans to be safe these days. Uh, and there's going to be a golden age of hacking. Any company that's not able to run these powerful scans quickly probably going to get hacked like crazy. Anyway, it does continue to show that apparently Anthropic is not exaggerating the value of Mythos. Mythos really is extremely valuable at finding vulnerabilities in software. So this is very interesting because I've been saying exactly what they say here is false, but I heard it at a Cloudflare event, and these were cryptography experts from UC Berkeley telling us this. What they said was that AES 128 was going to be broken by quantum computers because with the Grover's algorithm, they can crack a AES 128 key with only 2 to the 64 operations, and that would make it doable. But what this guy says is, in fact, if you look into the details of it, the Grover algorithm does not improve from parallelization as much as you think, and it's not as simple as the simple idea of how AI works that was used to make that, of how quantum computers work to make that computer. He says, in fact, it would still take 2 to the 104 calculations, even with a quantum computer. So AES 128 will remain uncrackable even with quantum computers, according to this guy. So that's interesting, and we're apparently going to live very quickly through the experimental test of this, since Cloudflare is now saying the quantum computer is expected to become a serious threat in 3 years, 2029. So I guess we'll see if it's able to crack on AES 128 or not. So there's a company in San Francisco that is called Mercor that is hiring people to explicitly hiring AIs to replace people, and they're doing it in China too. What they're doing is they're getting workers to write down exactly what they do so they can use those written documents to specify the task and decide what portion of those tasks should be completed by AI agents instead. And some people are saying this is terrible and they're getting upset about this. I guess you could look at it that way, but I guess I'm a tech booster. It seems to me like if there's a better, more efficient way to do the job, you have to embrace it, and trying to hide from it is not going to work, because if you don't do it, other companies will as your competitors. So I think, I think this is logical, and people are going to have to find a job that isn't better, cheaper done by an AI in the long run. Anyway, you might, all right. So the Southern Poverty Law Center, I've been hearing about these for decades. It's a really popular civil rights group that calls out a whole lot of racism. What they mostly do is infiltrate white supremacist groups and reveal what they're doing. However, they're now being sued, indicted by the Trump administration, and what they're claiming is that they pay informants inside these white supremacist groups, and that amounts to supporting them and manufacturing the extremism it purports to oppose by paying sources to stoke racial hatred and then hiding those payments. So I can certainly imagine that there's another side to this, where they're just sneaking infiltrators into the group who pretend to support them but don't really support them, and they have to obscure the payments in order to avoid them being detected as undercover agents. But anyway, we'll see where this goes. It's not really clear if it's corrupt or not, but I guess there's going to be an investigation and we'll see what happens. So here's a similar case where there's two. All right, so there was a mass shooting last year in Florida, and the mass shooter used ChatGPT to plan and execute to plan the mass shooting. So now they're trying to probe to see if OpenAI should be held responsible. What he did, uh, the shooter, Phoenix Ickner, was a student, and he used ChatGPT and he asked them about what gun to use and whether a gun would be effective at short range and what time of day there'd be a lot of people and how he could plan it to hurt more people and so on. So, and he said these facts would likely, he said, if a person had answered these questions, they'd be indicted as a co-conspirator. On the other hand, you could say these facts would be easy to find online. So they're trying to decide whether ChatGPT did something wrong here, or the company that made it did anything wrong, whether they had a defective product and should have known that it could be used for this bad purpose. And they have kind of admitted they want to put more filters on what their product does to prevent this. So we'll see. It's very far from obvious who's right in this one either. So I just heard a podcast talking about this, which made kind of a good point. So, Trump charged these tariffs for everybody for about a year. The Supreme Court declared them illegal, so now they have to refund the money. However, what happened is um, when the companies had to pay import tariffs, they mostly passed that on to the consumers, I think, although I think there'll still be an investigation seeing how much they did, but they probably did. So all of us consumers paid higher prices for this year to pay for those tariffs. And now they're going to take our tax money and use it to refund the tariffs back to the companies, but not to us. So uh, it's an interesting situation. Anyway, it does look like they've opened a portal and they're going to start paying back some of the tariffs to the companies. Um, we will see how this all works out. So this one is kind of interesting and sort of obvious. There's been a rumor for years that the antivirus companies are actually writing the viruses, and this is an issue all along. What if the people you expect to be defending you are in fact conspiring with the enemies to oppose you? And apparently this really happened. I think this is the third time this has happened, that one of the ransomware negotiators was in fact, what a ransomware negotiator is supposed to do is when you get hit with ransomware, you hire this person, they then investigate the ransomware groups and they know which ones are going to give you the data back in a usable way, and they tell you whether or not to pay them, and if you pay them, they negotiate a lower price. But apparently what he would do was pass information to the company, to the ransomware group, of how much the company is willing to pay so they can demand that much, and then he gets a cut. So this is the problem. The person in the middle here has a reasonable profit-driven opportunity, they're in a position where they can make money by catering to both sides. And that's what he did. So now he gets a prison term. It's understandable how this puts a person in a position to commit that crime. It's very unclear to me how the customer could reasonably protect themselves from this. So this upstart Lovable is a vibe coding company, and they had a ridiculous security flaw. If you created an account, you could then interrogate the API and it didn't authenticate you properly. This is extremely common, unprotected API endpoints. So you could read data from other people's accounts once you were in there. And when the reporter, when the person who discovered this told the company, they just denied it, said it was not real, and did all the usual bad stuff, and then blamed HackerOne, who provided the bug bounty testers. So, this is, as I found out, this is the problem with white hatting. If you try to tell people about vulnerabilities, you very often get a bad, unproductive, hostile response. And that's what happened here. Anyway, I think they eventually had to admit it was a problem. So I'm going to stop this.